All right, we are diving back into the archives. This is round 3 of the 2007 Northern Regional Championship. So, a quick synopsis. The first 2 rounds, I lost both my games. This is round 3, my second ever tournament. And these were my first 2 losses ever. So, trying to turn the tide. In this game, I had the white pieces against Jacob Norman, rating 1031. My rating after one tournament was 1008. So my first move started d4, and anyone that knows me knows that I am now mostly an e4 player. And we can see that d4 has not worked out up to this point, but perhaps things are about to change. d4, d5, c4, all normal. And then I played a3, and they did not take the knight. Whenever you commit your bishop out to b4, it is almost obligatory that you capture the knight once the bishop gets under attack. But they backed up, and I was able to actually trap their bishop in the opening. So here we are on move 7, and I am up a piece. Feeling pretty good. Maybe things are turning around. The opening continues. We can see I'm developing my pieces, and a quick e4 push with the possible idea of playing e5 at some point, trying to take advantage of the pin that the knight is in right now. If I can attack that knight again, perhaps I can win even more material. Finish development, and then I attack the knight, and my opponent counterattacks with the move h6, a very common situation where the pinned knight is attacked and you counterattack the bishop that is doing the pinning. But these exchanges should help me since I am the one that is up a piece in this position. And after the dust clears, we can see that I am actually up plenty of material here. I have the extra piece, I have the safer king, and my opponent has one pawn, but they have some weak pawns. These pawns are all not super strong. The g5 pawn kind of separated, and if it's ever protected, then we could see problems with the e pawn. If the e pawn ever moves, we could see problems with the d pawn. I have to be a little bit careful myself of my own d pawn, but overall, I should have good chances here. My bishop lined up towards the exposed king. So we move forward, and they break right away with e5, opening up their own bishop. And here, what white needs to do is capture this pawn, because not only is e5 looking to open up the position, it comes with an additional threat that during the game, I didn't see. I played c captures b6, they recaptured, and I still have time to get out of the threat, but I played rook e1. So, perhaps at this point you have seen the threat that black has, the move that wins the material back. It is indeed e4, forking my knight and bishop. And now I am losing the piece back. So I gave up the knight instead of the bishop, and we reach this position here where we each have 2 minor pieces, and I am up a single pawn. Still the safer king, still a good position. We can see that my opponent is willing to trade off, so I should be happy with that, since I am up the pawn, and I have now captured a second pawn. Getting tempos on the queen. My queen is guarding d1, and now I also have a large attack on f7. So we're up the 2 pawns, we've got the safer king, we have an attack on their king. So things are looking good. They defend, and I create some luft for my king. Always good whenever there's some back rank threats, to give your king a little room to run off that back rank if he needs to. And in this position, I captured on f7. I took advantage of the pinned knight by playing queen g5 check. But unfortunately, we reached this position where I gave up my knight to try and checkmate the king, and it didn't work. Queen captures rook. So let's back it up a couple moves right here. White is not forced to take on f7. White has a nice, calm position, and white has a much better move in this situation. See if you can find a better move for white in this position. Basically, any move you came up with that doesn't give away material is a better move, since knight to takes f7 does not work. But one move you should be looking at would be knight e6 check, attacking the king and the rook. It might get a little complicated after knight e6, king f8, but remember, we are up a pawn still with a safer king, and so trading these rooks would not be the end of the world. Something like knight e6, king f8, knight takes, king takes, and the knight runs away with another check. Maybe it comes over to the e5 square and our queen comes in, would probably also be good for us. White can also just choose to wait to attack. They could play a move like h4, or they could bring the queen to the e file, or bring the queen up to f4. Lots of possibilities. No need to sacrifice on f7 unless you see the concrete win, which is not what was the case here. I sacrificed hoping for a checkmate. And so after we reach this position, the knight is under attack, the knight is pinned, and if it was white's turn right now, white would win with the move queen captures f7 checkmate. However, it is not white's move, and instead the black queen captures the rook, and instead of trading queens I ran away, but now we are down the knight that we sacrificed and the rook we just lost, and we only have 2 pawns for it. So I'm going to speed through the rest of the game so we can see black's pretty swift conversion. Right now black is attacking us, and black chooses not to sacrifice. They just start pushing their passed pawns. If you're winning and the opponent is in a position where they can't really do very much, pushing a passed pawn is a perfectly acceptable way to win the game. No need for black to try to force some kind of checkmate right now. They can just push those pawns, and that will be game over. But after the queen trade, I resigned in this game, and if you were following the first 2 videos in this series, you'll know that I am now 0-3 in this tournament. So pizza break during this tournament, great. Time with friends, great. Results, not so great. Unfortunately, this is the last game I have for this tournament because round 4 I received a full point bye since I was last place in my section. And we went from the high of not losing a single game in the first tournament that I ever played to losing every game in the second tournament. So we will be back next time to see what happens in tournament number 3. My rating does take a nosedive from 1008 to the mid-1800s or mid-800s, and hopefully I will find some more even competition in the next tournament. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed seeing this game. Maybe you even learned a little something. Good luck in your games. See you next time.